I'll never understand the whole shaming of a single mom. And I don't have kids myself, but
Mhm.
I'll never understand it because what good is that doing for that child without a father? The mother is there. We understand maybe she chose the wrong guy, maybe this, maybe that, but that parent
Mhm.
stayed to take responsibility of that child while the other parent decided to say, fuck it. Excuse me, can I curse?
Well, we here now.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, brother. I forgot. It's a classic situation though. But there are men who, or just parents in general, who choose to just walk
Mhm.
away. So I think we should support these people. We need to support the people that feel like, you know what, you could do better. Let me show you how. Let me give you an option. One of the best things that's happening in 2025 right now is the mayor, I think, Baltimore, who has
Mhm.
seen a significant decrease in violent crime within his city because he implemented options for the youth, for something for
Mhm.
them to do instead of being on the streets or in their phone. That way,
Mhm.
that wasn't a coincidence. That's all is needed because
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
speaking more so towards the youth because that needs to be the focus. Because an
Gotcha.
adult, they have to be the ones to do the work to change. You got to go
Mhm.
in, you got to go within and do the work. But with the youth, we can offer them solutions now. We can offer them options now to say, hey, actually, yeah, this is a lane I could go down to, but this person also made it out this way. And they're giving
Mhm.
me tangibles that I can follow to actually make it. And now I can learn and go back and teach. And I think it should
Mhm.
be more of that. I think it should be more of that instead of the shaming. I don't know a
Mhm.
time when shaming actually worked. Because when you
Yeah.
shame someone, it's like I'm a change in front of you, but I'm
Mhm.
still going to feel bad about myself. And I
Mhm.
might take the same behavior and do it somewhere else where I'm not being shamed instead
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
being supported and being shown a different way to behave. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. It's one of those interesting things where I do wonder in the past, let's just say historically in America, even in our own community as well as in various other countries, if shame that was there before, if it did work or did have some positive aspects to it, or do you only see shame as like strictly negative?
Well, shame is negative. When you
Meaning,
feel
meaning,
shame,
sorry, meaning the effects of it.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm,
If I am wrong, please enlighten me on a time where shame
mhm.
brought positive change to the masses or to anybody.
Yeah, I think there's different in this question I'm holding up here. I definitely want to touch on it so I don't forget it. In terms of, he says, I wonder what's the difference between holding someone accountable and pointing the finger. But back to the shame discussion, there's different varying degrees of how and what shame looks like. So, as an example, would be if you get incarcerated, right? When you get incarcerated, you're brought up on some crazy charges. Your family's humiliated. It's costing them thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight your legal bills and all of that. There's a societal um, ripple effect that happens for a lot of other people around you when
Mhm.
where regardless of their motivation for changing, them seeing such a degree of what can happen when they do the same thing, that is an aspect of responding to said shame that he's experiencing. When you kind of extrapolate that and use it in all the various ways in which, because I think what you're using and describing as shame is like the me and you social media shame, like, oh, need to shame them. Like, I don't think that really leads towards anything at all. I do think that there is a normal corporal friendship family dynamic of we don't want to bring shame to the people around us, and
Sure.
we don't want to do that in the lens of our actions and our behaviors and the consequences that comes from the ones when we do that. And I think that that's a part of our upbringing, is when you're raised a certain way, part of the reason for why you don't want to do something is because you don't want to fail yourself, you don't want to fail the people that you represent, you don't want to fail the people who raised you. and that comes with that little bit of aspect of shame.
Sure.
So it's kind of like tough love a little bit. I can see how it could be abused. I can see how it's violating. I can see how it doesn't work in many instances. And I would even wonder if the reason why our culture has gotten as bad is because we have no shame now.
Hmm. I don't know. I feel like when it comes to like, okay, like the short term effects of shaming, like I said, like it
Mhm,
can stop the behavior in the moment
mhm,
because people don't want to feel embarrassed or judged. That's why, socially it's like we're policing, your behavior, you
mhm,
know, because we're uncomfortable with it. But long term, I feel like it, it doesn't create lasting change, right? It usually makes people defensive, secretive, resentful, and it doesn't really motivate them to genuinely improve. So
mhm,
instead of learning, they're like hiding or doubling down. So that's why I'm like, why are we shaming someone instead of giving them ways to improve? When you mentioned like the incarceration, usually if you're being incarcerated, you made
mhm,
a choice to do something to put yourself in that position, right? So
mhm,
if anybody should be shaming you, it should be yourself because you decided to do something that has you incarcerated. You made a choice, you did a behavior that you knew would not only bring shame to yourself but to your
mhm,
family, and you knew that by doing that action the consequence, the type of shame that would carry.
mhm,
So you that's something different than a woman who was with a man and they decided to both lay down together and
mhm.
everything seemed great, and she ends up pregnant and he decides to leave her.
Yeah.
And instead of shaming the man who walks away, we're shaming
Mhm,
the single mother who's taking the responsibility of that child if she decides to have it, whatever the case may be. But
mhm,
shaming that single mother doesn't stop that child from being birthed, that she's
mhm.
already has had the kid. So shaming her does what exactly? It's not
Yeah.
supporting her. It's not helping that child. So that's
Mhm,
why I'm like, what's the point if there is really no long-term positive effects that can
mhm.
happen? And with shaming,
Yeah.
it like damages trust. People feel attacked, like
Mhm,
in personal relationships. Like, yeah, when you're growing up, you may think your parents shaming you is them helping you to be better, but really
mhm,
it's just like, oh, I gotta act a certain type of way, or I gotta say a certain type of thing. But when I get outside, that's why a lot of
mhm.
those kids who are shamed, grow up in those really strict environments, they rebel, they lash out, they
Yeah,
are very
yeah.
sneaky because they're not supported. They're being shamed and criticized and talked down on and not being seen as a human being, just going
Mhm.
through something different outside of what somebody wants them to act like.
Yeah, yeah. And some of the people they kind of commented it too. One about I guess the term of deadbeat dad. There's a reason for why we use that term. Is definitely a pejorative. Is definitely not positive. And I think what I'm speaking to is, and actually kind of what you're saying is shame in and of itself isn't sufficient to actually get the desired change that we want to see in society. I do acknowledge that whether we're calling it shame, correction, uh, constructive feedback, whatever people want to label this stuff as, if it comes from a place that can actually benefit and help people, I think it's necessary at this point. I do acknowledge our outcomes in like every area is functionally like worse. It just statistically speaking. So regardless of our anecdotal evidence that a lot of people are doing fairly well or okay and they're not criminals, and that's true. As a group collectively, we are behind in like functionally everything, whether it's two-parent households, income, you name it. Just it seems like we've definitely declined in some ways. And whether it's a combo of shame or corrective justice or positive reinforcement, whatever you want to frame it, there has to be something that acknowledges something's wrong, something needs to change. And I agree with you that the attitude of those who kind of are behind the mics doesn't typically lead towards people being better. It's
No,
like,
that's the
right?
only thing.
Yeah,
Call it
yeah,
out.
right.
Call
Mhm,
out the harmful behavior. Call it
mhm,
out. If you know someone, that you love that is being harmful to themselves or to other
Mhm.
people, and you know you can help that person and you're coming from a place of love and
Mhm.
respect, call it out. But
Mhm.
shaming is, I'm better than you. You're bad. You should have did it like this. You're no one's gonna
Mhm.
like you. You did that wrong.
Mhm.
It's okay. And then after that, then what? As opposed to
Mhm.
friend,
Why
I
would they
see.
want to hear anything after that? Yeah.
Why would they even want to talk to you after that? They're gonna take that shame and internalize it, and then they walk away not becoming a better person. And all
Mhm.
you did was just get your ego a little bit boosted because you
Mhm.
felt because you didn't make those type of life choices that you now have the right to shame others that may have
Mhm.
that may have done it. You can call it out, but also call it out with solution. Don't call it
Yeah.
out just to call somebody out like I don't like that. It's like, you know what? I don't like this because I can see this being harmful to you.
Mhm.
Why don't we try work? Why don't we do it this way? Why don't
Mhm.
you think about maybe trying something like this? Because, friend, when I'm seeing you doing this,
Mhm.
I don't know. And then
Mhm.
also make sure the critique and all this other stuff, make sure it's warranted. A lot of times I
Mhm.
feel like people are shaming and critiquing people and then putting a sign over it saying, well, we're just trying to help.
Mhm.
No, if they didn't necessarily ask for the help, you're
Mhm.
just trying to like
Mhm.
tear people down. You know what I mean? That's
Exactly.
not what that is, but
Yeah.
we can
Nah,
continue.
nah, I feel you on that, and I 100% agree with you that, more has to come from just pointing out what they did wrong. That's obvious,
Yeah, help them
right?
understand the impact of
Fair.
what they're doing, why their behavior is wrong. Do
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
How do you think, social media then has impacted the image of not only Black women collectively, but also you personally, in terms of how people see you, and in light of everything we're talking about, like how do you think social media specifically has kind of impacted both your image and the image of Black women?
Honestly, I thought about this. I feel like I impact social media. I don't feel like
Mm,
social media has impacted me in any way. What's happening is that I'm being myself, and there are a lot of people that don't like my delivery or personality,
mhm,
and they're
mhm,
picking me apart and
mhm,
and making it seem I'm this crazy Black woman. Now, what is an issue is that a lot of times, because of my aesthetic, the assumption is I'm going to be loud, crazy, degenerate, belligerent, and all this and that. Now, don't get me wrong, I can get a little loud. I can
we
get a
gonna
little,
talk about that, but I'm
I can get a
I'm
little
listening.
passionate,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I'm a human being, and
Yeah.
but I don't lead with disrespect. I don't
Mhm,
lead with like nonsense, you know.
mhm,
So sure, there are certain times that I'm on the defense, but a lot of times my clips are going viral because I'm being provoked by nonsense. I'm being called names because I'm pointing out systemic racism. I'm being
okay.
harassed and called stupid because men want us to believe that their natural way is to cheat on their women, and I'm against
Mhm,
that. And,
mhm,
and now I'm going viral for being dumb and not being real. It's very silly. So I'm definitely making an impact on social media. And shout out to all the content creators that
mhm.
have definitely capitalized off my face in your reviews, because I know that you have. But it it is what it is. Like I'm
Mhm.
here to kind of change the narrative. I understand this is where we are now, and you can like it or love it. One thing about it, I'm being 100% authentic. There's nothing else that I can be. I'm not up here lying. I'm not up here trying to impress anybody. I'm not up here trying to get chose by the men in the audience, because I'm often like, oh,
Mhm.
she's everything we don't want,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah, yeah.
In my real life, these are these are not problems that I
Mhm,
have. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like, I don't have issues with men. I don't have these gripes. This is really a new experience for me. The amount of
Yeah.
negativity and hate, especially that I get from men, is crazy. Which is
Mhm,
also weird because I thought y'all were protectors, but it
mhm.
seems that the first thing to do with a woman that you don't agree with is to try to embarrass her or harm her or verbally
Mhm.
accost her. So it's just social media has definitely impacted me on that way, but I don't think it has tarnished my image. I'm still
Mhm.
thriving. I'm still singing and performing in and out of my city. Like gigs are
Mhm.
still, nothing is stopping this.
Y'all,
But
she can sing, by the way, like sing for real. Like we gonna touch on that another time.